Interesting quote from Alex Bregman that just went viral. And as we are talking about the Astros' struggles at the plate, this is pretty interesting. Red Sox coaches, before they eventually signed Alex Bregman, put together a presentation to explain how and why Bregman needed to fix his swing. Over time, Bregman had developed almost imperceptible bad habits. The timing of Bregman loading his hands was too late and too fast. Moving his hands as the ball left the pitcher's hand left him vulnerable, and never did Bregman possess the sort of bat velocity to make up for it. Said Bregman, quote, after those successful years, I was like, I want to be better. 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 So I started trying to change things and improve, instead of doing what made me who I am and just refining what I was already doing at the time. There's been a lot of chatter about Astros hitting coaches to open the season. No. Alex Centrone, amongst whoever else is involved. And I do think from time to time it's a very simplistic way to scapegoat people that aren't the players on your team for a slow start when you expect them to be off to a quicker start. But I think that's an interesting tidbit. I don't think Bregman was intentionally throwing the Astros hitting coaches under the bus there, but shouldn't Astros hitting coaches who have been with Alex Bregman for a while be able to see that he developed bad habits and steer him away from them, especially when you know how obsessed Bregman is with things? And I'm not saying this is the reason why Bregman is gone. I'm not. Bregman left because Boston was willing to offer him a deal that allows for flexibility that also pays him pretty well on an annual basis. And I get why a lot of people say it was smart to walk away from Alex Bregman, but Bregman's numbers, in case you don't know, with the Red Sox to open the season, as I thought they would, by the way, have been really, really good. Paul, baseball, Paul, what? You actually like, ball. All I'm saying is Bregman, who had the second best career numbers at Fenway Park over a season at Fenway Park, or at least to how many games have the Red Sox played to this point? A little more than a quarter of the way through the year. Bregman is on pace for a borderline 40 home run season. He's hitting 304, 10 homers, 32 runs batted in, which is top 10, 949 OPS, which is top 10. Just saying, that ballpark is as favorable for a guy like Bregman as Dyken Park is. And I think that's a very interesting quote from an article written on ESPN about Bregman and Boston. Man. So there you go.
So that's why he didn't get off to a slow start. So they fixed Alex Bregman.
Seems that way. They had a PowerPoint presentation ready for Bregman saying your swing is broken. Imagine that's your pitch to bring him in.
I know. Imagine just like, okay, Alex Bregman, here's a PowerPoint. And then click one.
Yeah.
Here's how we fix you.
Yeah.
Which you do hear about that with baseball free agents, where they do want to like see basically if you have a plan, like a developmental and like coaching plan. So they do. It is an interesting thing because I think that was what Shohei Ohtani said, was like, I want to see how people, like how other teams would like use me and what their plan for me would be. And that's interesting that the Red Sox, their pitch was, we're going to make you better, which I guess for a guy, he's not on a long-term deal. So if he can put together the season he's on pace for right now, if he does that over the full season, he probably will get that long-term deal that he's looking for.
I think so. Or at least something that's longer than and with a better value than.
Yeah. Yeah. And he would have already banked 40 for this year.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, that is an interesting tidbit.
That is a tough look, though, for Centrone.
Yeah.
In general, I'm with you with the blaming baseball, especially baseball coaches for things, either hitting, pitching coaches, managers. Like these guys have very little to do with what's actually like. They can try to put them in the best place to succeed, but after that, the game's kind of the game. This is where I'm like, "Ugh," that feels like
Yeah.
something that you should be able to get in like video study.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of it is like you're just used to having Bregman on your team, where it's a fresh set of eyes almost.
Except for on what he's doing himself. Because Bregman has helped out. Remember the Hunter Brown
Yeah.
goes to sinker all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Bregman couldn't see what he wasn't doing. Interesting comments here on the Twitch. Coog Blaze says, haven't the hitting coaches been around since 2018? Sure. Is it possible that fresh blood's needed?
Yeah, that's kind of my theory, is that you could use a fresh set of eyes on some of the stuff. Continuity's great, but after a while.
Longevity in the coaching world, I mean, you can try your best, but it's going to be hard.
Wasn't it Marty Schottenheimer who was like, after like 8 years, it's like you kind of have to leave
Yeah.
because it just gets stale.
I mean, unless you're the greatest coach ever, once it's 10 years or so, yeah, I think eight's the number. I remember with I think Terry Francona is one of the best managers that we've seen in baseball over the last 20 years or so because of the way that he's able to connect with players and get the most out of them. With the Red Sox, he was awesome. But in 2011, they had an epic collapse down the stretch of the year. They didn't need to smear him on the way out, but he definitely was part of the problem. And eventually, all these coaches, like the message just stops working. Continuity's great and all, but I say that with Mike Tomlin right now with the Steelers too. Hey, it's good to be this consistent, but you do have to wonder if the same approach with the same guy leading it that is not getting the results that have been achieved before by said coach, if it means it's a time for fresh blood. You got to find somebody who's great to actually take that person's shoes. But yeah, I think you could definitely make a strong case that some of the Astros struggles offensively over the last couple of years would merit fresh blood, or at the very least, phone calls. And at least to my knowledge, it's not like they have really done their due diligence on that front. And okay, luxury tax threshold for rosters, not signing guys to massive deals. Fine, I can allow that, but pretty sure that you can do whatever you want with coaches. And I'm pretty sure you can do whatever you want with assistant coaches, neither of whom are paid particularly highly. So you can't do better than what you got right now.
Yeah. You can get an army of guys wearing polo shirt, in college football where it's the different analysts and stuff that are in the team photo wearing a polo shirt. Like you can do the same thing in baseball, pay these guys whatever, 75 grand and like they pay for 3 of them. And that's a minimum salary deal for a MLB player.
Right. So I'm sure the hitting coach salary is a little more, but I mean, what? Oh, Michael Brantley. I mean, what's he doing now?
Yeah.
Guys like that.
Just like hitting consultants.
He was here in the off season. He was at the Astros spring training. So, I mean, come on. What are we doing here as far as just the status quo, the same thing? Is it possible it could add more? That is me speculating, like a lot of people are right now, about that little clip from this article about Alex Bregman on ESPN.com. Virginia Buttonweed says, would they really give him advice before having him under contract? If it's referring to the Red Sox, yes. If it's referring to the Astros, I mean, they should have.
Yeah,
they should have. You got to find a way to sell the guy on something when you're not paying him what he wants. You got to say, listen, we can get you back to the form you used to be, and clearly they didn't do that either.
And it's not crazy because that's when you're interviewing GM candidates, like they come in and they say like what their plan to fix your team would be. So like it's not insane that when you have a player visit that you tell him what the developmental plan for him would be.
Exactly. Yeah.